No. Oh. All right, all right. Welcome, guitar nerds. This is Rod. This week we are chatting with my main mentor in life, and his name is Scott Anderson. So Scott's a huge part of my story, in that he found me. I guess was my 11th grade or 10th grade year or something like that.
I think so.
And he was a perfect combination for me of adaptable, treated me like a human being, and treat with somebody who had stuff they were excited about, but also saw promise in me, and he helped me out in ways that nobody else did. So I will say that, and this is why this installment of our nerd interview is an important one to me, because it's been like 35 years in the making.
Yes.
Or something.
Yes.
All right. So Scott.
Yes.
So how are you doing now? In your teaching and all that.
Yeah, actually, with the pandemic and such, it happened at a good stage in my life. I was just retiring from teaching at colleges and charter art schools and so on, and was just going to start to kick back and only do private lessons, which I had just started to do. And then we got about 3 months into the pandemic, and then I kind of cut things in half. I was around 70 private students a week, so now I'm down around 40.
Okay.
So
yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
Good. So what is the breakdown of the kinds of students that you have?
Oh, interesting. The particular area I live in, we have quite a few aerospace and like computer chip and programming engineers. And so the majority of my students at this time, the largest group is actually members of the engineering community.
All right.
And then it's an equal split then between teenagers and younger students then outside of that group. So it would be like saying maybe 20 engineers and then 10 teenagers and 10 young kids.
Okay.
And
that's now, what do these engineers want to learn?
Oh, it's interesting. Most of them actually just want to learn how to play guitar. Most of them like all styles of music, which is very interesting. And there are a few people that are like, there's a couple guys that particularly just want jazz as their main focus, and a couple just want classical, but almost everyone is into all the different styles.
Yeah.
It's pretty, it's wonderful for me.
It is for me too. And this is one of the things that I get from Scott, because like I have a history. In my history, you were that kind of person that, in other words, yes, you studied classical and I love classical, and I came to you for that reason. But I wasn't that person who was just going to be playing on concert stages,
right?
Like with a stool and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was not going to be and I knew that, but that's not why you do something.
Right.
You do something to bring dimension to your life and to bring color and different stuff to your whole. So that was, I guess that's what I was thinking. And Randy Rhoads played classical guitar.
Oh yeah, there you
go. That didn't hurt. Because we are talking around 1983, 84.
Oh, yeah. And the scholarship for him still exists. His mother's scholarship, I forget which school, but it's out there.
The University of Southern California or something.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. So does Ozzy chip in on that?
I don't know. That's an interesting.
You should.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, sure would. The whole of the story, yes.
Yeah. So how did you get your start?
Oh boy, are we talking guitar?
Guitar, yeah. I know you were born
Well, I didn't know if you want. I actually did do some trumpet and that kind of stuff as a kid in elementary school, and I wanted to bring that up a little bit because I thought if you were to ask this, um, AM radio and television, like kind of growing up in a smaller farming kind of community type thing, that was my exposure to most music. We weren't going to concert halls and stuff like that, so I was
Yeah.
seeing uh, the Tijuana Brass and Al Hurt and all these different trumpet guys as frontmen playing these great melodies that were AM and FM radio, mostly AM, and kind of thinking, oh, I like I like the sound of that Lonely Bull tune and
Yeah. Yeah.
other things like that. So that attracted me to trumpet. So I did the trumpet in elementary school and such, and from that though, then the whole thing with AM radio, the Beatles on television, the Beatles on the radio, and then all the tunes sounding slightly different from one another. It kind of intrigued me. I thought these guys are just good. I like what they're doing. So that was one of the
Do you
attractions.
remember? Do you remember the Ed Sullivan
I
Show
actually
in
saw it.
'60?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
saw it.
I actually
That
saw
was as big as everyone said.
it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as a kid, what would happen as 45s would come out at different times, it was a big deal to wait until like Friday or Saturday where my parents could maybe run me out to what at the time was mailman's department store and buy the newest, like I remember buying Rain and some other
All
things
right.
like that, and buying the Beach Boys Good Vibrations and all
Uh-huh.
that kind of stuff, and then bringing those home and just playing them. And we would hear about like how there's going to be a
Would
new,
these be 45s?
yeah, 45s most of the time, yeah.
Okay.
And then at some point, then start getting in the albums and buying the Doors and Steppenwolf and Jefferson Airplane,
Hmm.
and those were some of my first three albums I ever bought.
Hmm.
So that was
Yeah.
kind of cool. And my brother got a guitar for one of his birthdays, even though I was the one that so desperately wanted one. And so I wasn't to touch it, but when he left the house, of course, I was playing it. So then eventually I got enough of my own money. I walked up to Campbell's Music Store, which you're familiar with,
Hmm.
and Bob Campbell there helped me out. I got my first guitar. It was a Teisco Del Rey. They're
You and
famous.
Eddie Van Halen.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He did a little better with his, but it was
No.
it was quite cool, and a little Jordan amplifier. And at first, I didn't get the amp. I just got the guitar because I couldn't afford the amp. And my bookcase faced the head of my bed, kind of acting like a headboard. So one day by accident, I'm playing my little Teisco Del Rey. I put it against the side of that, and I'm playing, and it's amplifying. The bookcase was acting as an amplifier, and I thought, oh, this is great. I can finally hear myself. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how I got my start.
That is humble beginnings.
Long-winded, but
Yeah.
yes.
No, no, that's what I want to hear. Because my earliest, my earliest things were the Beatles, uh, Day Tripper,
Oh
and
yeah,
I Get Around by the Beach Boys.
yeah. How about it?
Those were the two 45s I would play over and over and over
There
and
you
sing along
go.
with them. So
That's
it's funny.
interesting.
It's funny that we had the same.
We
We
had
share
very
that same beginning.
wow.
But we never talked about this
No,
before.
that's really cool. Yeah.
So so did you teach yourself from the beginning?
Oh, I tried for a couple of months just doing regular notes because I had that trumpet background. So I had a little Alfred book, and I think I had a Mel
Which is what
Bay,
I
and
had.
I was learning the strings 1, 2, and such, and that doing that. And then eventually, since Campbell's was right there, I remember how it took a lot of nerve, and I still respect that about students now. Even adults sometimes they feel almost apologetic, saying, "Oh, I'm not really very good," and you might not want to teach a beginner. It's kind of sad that people have that feeling. But I remember
Yeah.
being kind of like, "Oh no, I hope I'm not too messed up to like I'm not going to be a good student and
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff or be embarrassed." I was kind of shy,
Yeah.
so I worked up the courage to go up there and I signed up and I had Joe Allison as my teacher,
Hmm.
and he was great because he had that passion and love for music. He had a sense of humor, and he was performing, which really impressed me. That here's a guy performing and recording. He had his own radio program on the FM rock station on Sundays,
Okay.
and at one point, some of my own little instrumental compositions, he invited me to come to his house. We recorded on a reel to reel, and
Hmm.
then I was on his radio program with him at the station one Sunday when I was 16, and that
Okay.
was a big deal and quite fun.
So how many years did you study with him?
I think it was about two and a half maybe, and then
Okay.
switched up with John Farmer. I should be careful. It was only two. Yeah, it was only 2 years, and then I was with John Farmer because of some scheduling. That's what happened. That's the only reason. And when I was working with John Farmer, because I had had some theory background, he was. We were talking one day about some things, and he was impressed with what I knew about theory. And he goes, "You ought to talk to Bob's Campbell here, see about being a teacher." And
Yeah.
so I was excited about that. I didn't think I was ready, and I probably wasn't. But I talked to Bob, and he signed me up and let me start teaching there when I was 15.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool.
So
I
you
was
lived in the same house that your mother still lives in?
That's right. At that time, yes, that's
Okay.
where we were. Yeah. In fact, that house is 87 years old. It's a Sears kit house, and
Uh-huh.
my mom's 87, so it's the same age as her. She's
Okay.
still there. Yeah,
Wow. That's wonderful.
that's
So you
crazy.
started at 15 years old,
Yes.
and um, were you into classical guitar at that point?
Well, I liked what it sounded like, but I really wasn't. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just into rock guitar and folk stuff and bluegrass. I liked all those types of
Yeah,
things.
yeah. Okay. Who were your earliest heroes?
Oh boy. Let's see. Well, like I said, some of it was like Robbie Krieger, for some reason, was a big deal to me. I liked how again, it's like what I liked about the Beatles, seemed like every tune was different. The guy wasn't playing the same stuff at all.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't think that much of him, but the inspiration that gave me was quite neat. And I was impressed with like some of the solos, like Light My Fire might seem a little cheesy to people, but I thought it was excellent stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Roadhouse Blues and all that kind of stuff. It's just
Hmm.
neat, just fun, neat guitar.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And it wasn't anything like Hendrix or Clapton.
oh no, and,
Yeah.
and the whole Asturias thing at the beginning of yes, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that being at the beginning of Spanish Caravan, that was like,
I
oh
see. I
yeah,
didn't know that.
that's the stuff. And
Okay.
my my brother brought home a recording of Leo Kottke, and then I bought him for his birthday the 6 and 12 string album.
Which I
And,
have. I
and
had. I don't know.
on that it had the Bourrée, and I
Yeah.
thought, oh, I've got to play that. So that's where I started to take that dive towards classical. I really want to do that. Yeah, there he is. Yep.
That's 35 years old.
Oh, dude, all right.
And people say, "Oh, but that was 3 weeks ago. I don't remember it now." Like,
Oh,
oh, whatever.
whatever. Yeah,
you
I
you
know.
learn it.
Yeah, you do. That's right. It sticks with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Sit at the edge of my bed, and that's a
Oh man, yeah.
yeah. So all right. So as far as your teaching goes, so you've always been you started out with rock, kind of rock, folk, bluegrass, guitar, and classical
Exactly.
crept in later on.
Right.
Was that when did that creep in?
Let's see. I'd say about when I was 15 or 16. Yeah, probably 15. Yeah. And my what's interesting, I was trying to do some things again. It was interesting. There was the Mel Bay book, getting a classical guitar, their little volume one and all that stuff, and
Hmm.
playing those pieces. It was like actually kind of exciting to me to do that, and I thought this is really cool stuff. And one day, my at school, my math teacher said, "Oh, if you like classical, you should like study with my teacher." And he gave me Michael Decker's information and such, and I contacted him and started to do my private lessons with Michael Decker,
Hmm.
and that's when it all really took off. It was like doing
Okay.
things the proper way, and what a frustration! Like coming out of my first lesson, angry at myself. It's like I can't even do a C chord right because I did. He had me do a few things. I played a C chord, and I had my hand kind of gripping it like this, and I played a C chord. But I was told about the hand position was like, oh, that's just that's not going to work. You got
Yeah.
to do this, and I had trouble doing all the stuff in the proper hand position for the left hand for single notes
Uh-huh.
wasn't correct. and I was actually angry. I didn't know who was angry. I was kind of angry at him, angry at myself. It's like, how can this be?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That, you know,
all your beliefs about yourself and
yeah,
probably
yeah.
some
I thought
self-esteem you got out of.
I thought I was playing.
Yeah, you probably were playing.
Yeah, I was playing, but
You were playing because
it
yeah,
felt, yeah, it felt so
like we
bad.
say, I you don't want to have you don't want to hold your guitar like it's a battle axe.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
but
sometimes when I'm going like this, when I'm throwing the sting on it,
yeah,
I don't have my hand like this either.
exactly.
Okay, so it depends on what you want to do.
That's right. Yeah,
What your goal is. If
right.
you're playing classical guitar, that is the improper hand position.
Probably wouldn't help. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't help at all. so, so Mike Decker.
Yeah.
So he's a legend in my mind because
Oh yeah.
two of my former teachers studied with him,
Oh boy. Yeah.
and you being one of them.
Yes. That's right. Yeah.
And so I never met the guy.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I never met him. He's just got like mythology kind of thing going,
I got you. Yes.
chasing after him because he's the classical. He was the classical guy at your college,
He was.
like in
That's
the
right. And
'70s.
that's what happened. That what was cool as a studying with him as a private student. Before I was in college, he was able to bring me in as a community member in the guitar ensemble at York College, and we had
Hmm.
about 18 people in that program usually every semester. And so I started to be able to be a part of the ensembles and actually get credit towards college. And having that whole college experience, it was a nighttime class, and
That
we
sounds
had,
familiar.
yeah, we had our concerts and stuff. Yeah, I bet it does.
You
And
did the same for me.
yes,
Yeah, that's how I got into Berkeley.
that's so cool. Yeah, isn't it? I love it.
And I know you know that, but that
Of
is
course, but still, yeah.
because I was this is the funny thing in my again my story. My senior year, I was getting C's in high school and A's in
Oh,
college.
oh yeah, yes.
And I was working my butt off. I
Oh yeah,
wasn't you weren't giving me grades,
right.
but you did it. You taught me the right way.
Oh
Treated
yes,
me like, as I said, you had the ability, and I'll stop with this, but you had the ability to treat the person like a person.
yes, yeah.
Okay, as no, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, no, that's all. That's all I had to say. So that kind of led from one thing to the next, and then eventually, as I graduated from high school, I just enrolled then as a music performance major. Actually, you know what? I'm trying to remember here. I think, my gosh, I might have gone to Towson State right out of high school instead of York College. So I did have my credits there, but I think I did almost 3 years at Towson State University with Michael Decker because he was the
Okay,
guy there. And
did he
then
move there by that time, or
uh,
was he teaching at both places?
he was teaching both places, and then the later years, then he was just there and not York College. Marcia Angler then took over with York College, and then I was studying with her, and then near the end because I was married, had a kid and a house, and it was getting to be too much to drive back and forth between York and Towson State,
Hmm.
so I ended up finishing up my degree at York College,
Yeah.
and then yeah, and then
Hmm.
history was so nice. One of the most the best teacher I ever had, James Mohat, Dr. Mohat
Yeah.
was a history and theory person.
Absolutely.
He
I remember him.
Oh boy, it was tough, and I remember every 2 weeks in the history having 10-page papers due, and staying up. I would lose a couple of nights sleep every week to his class,
So
and I would lose.
what kind of teacher was he?
He was excellent, and it was kind of like it would drive you. In most mornings, he was the first class I had for some of the theory and so on, and I would show up. We started out maybe 20 people in the class every semester, and then it would narrow down to five and then to three or so. And most mornings I would dread because I would be the only person that would have done the homework that night. Come in the morning and I'd have to be at the chalkboard because I'm that old instead of
Yeah.
a whiteboard
Well, so am
or
I.
any other stuff. Okay. And I
Yeah.
have to be up there saying this is the five of the six of, 5/7 of the six chord going to the six and all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Do all the analyzation that I had done on the assignments of the Bach fugues or whatever they might have been.
Okay.
And so because hardly anybody else would ever finish all the assignments, I would night after night, drive myself to complete them. And so at some
So the
point,
class started with 20 people and went down to
oh
three.
yeah, oh yeah. So that happens in ear training all the time. So ear training
I
classes.
remember when I was in college, people were crying in your
Oh
training
yeah, I
classes.
bet.
It's
Yeah.
like they drove them to the,
We
you
had
know,
some we had some science people coming in and out of the music thing thinking, oh, they're going to do music, it's going to be easier than science, and they left all
yeah,
the time. They would just be gone.
yeah,
But yeah, so I impressed him enough with performances and playing, and then my classroom work, that he actually called me after I graduated, and it turned out that there was an opening for the guitar teaching position at York College,
mhm.
and somehow I was asked to do that, and I got to do that too. So that
That's
was a real
wonderful.
blessing.
And that's where
It was
we,
wonderful.
that's where some of what, I don't know, what year did you start with that?
Oh my gosh, 80 something, maybe 84. I'm not sure if it was that or maybe
Okay.
that's, yeah, I
So
think it was
were you new
84.
when I was there?
Yes,
Okay. You were the
yes,
new guy then?
yes.
Okay. So you had summer camps there. I remember the one summer camp. We had a rock
Yeah,
guitar summer camp.
rock guitar seminar.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I forgot the name of it, but it's like
yeah, but
yeah,
I organized and planned that
week.
out.
It was a week long. It
Yeah,
was a week.
I,
It was a week long guitar
I had the days planned
learn.
out by the half hours and stuff, and the topics that everything was going to be covered as best I could. I remember that was fun for me doing that. I
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah.
So anybody who knows me now, if they wonder where I get some of my ideas from, you see a blueprint.
Oh, great. Yes.
You know, we're different, but we're the same.
Oh, that's cool. Exactly. I
So,
see it.
but
I see that too. Yeah. I'm sorry.
so
What? Oh,
that okay. Hold on a sec.
sure.
Uh, so you did a you have guitar curriculums. You established a guitar curriculum. Did you establish a guitar curriculum at your college, or you're just
Yeah.
are you just
I,
teaching what they told you to teach?
oh no, that's what's nice. It was just all mine.
Okay.
And so the way I'd been doing most of my private teaching uh, was carried over into this. And fortunately, with Marcia Angler, when I was still at York College, and she was my teacher at that time when I was there at the end, we did an independent study in guitar pedagogy. So she worked with Ray Chester at Peabody Conservatory with me, and she kind of set up a thing of studying method books, methodology, and repertoire, and all kinds of things. And I went through and evaluated uh, over, I think, a couple hundred books of all these different books that were out there on all these different topics. I had to write reviews of the books and so on. And then
Hmm.
one of the things she had me do was come up with three different ways to teach different concepts, and that was tough at times. But all
Hmm.
those things, especially that,
Three different ways.
yeah, to teach any one particular
Oh,
concept
absolutely.
as best you could. And
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. We don't stop at three either.
no, sometimes no.
No, no, we
But
don't because it's like
no,
yeah,
it
as I said,
depends.
you want to teach somebody to do something maybe the way that they, there's a thousand paths to Mecca.
Oh yes, that's
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah. And I've
So
had people too with like health issues, like things maybe that our fingers frozen at a joint and all kinds of different things. So you have to be creative and
yeah.
help people out and help them
Hmm.
get their, fulfill their passion.
Yeah, yeah. Now
Yeah.
here's the other thing. I was in Millersville. They were trying to train a blind person how to read musical braille.
Oh, wow.
And to me, that just seemed like you're really not getting this. In other words, their weakness will, that weakness, they'll never be able to, in other words, teach them another way is what I'm trying to say.
Oh
It's like,
yes, yeah.
yeah, educate them, educate them, educate them, but you don't be stuck
Not
in
stuck with
your,
that. No,
don't
they
be
should.
stuck with
It'd
your
be
limited framework.
exactly. It'd be cool to learn that, to have that as a as here this yeah here's this that
But
I can do
what
this way
using
too.
using
But not only.
yeah, yeah. In other words, that is their method of bringing the best out of you.
Oh boy.
You know what I mean?
Oh
So
boy.
this leads us to the conversation about music education and how it has changed over the years.
Mhm.
That you were, I think you were good. You were great, but it's like the system back then was like, okay, all we're going to do is 4 years of classical guitar. That's why uh, my parents had me tested
Oh.
because out of I left York College
Oh.
after Berkeley. I went to York College, and I'm not sticking with this.
Oh yeah.
In other words, that what they say is um, 4 years of just playing classical guitar. You want to, this is the program.
Right. That's
Now
what it was.
we
Yeah.
see what are the years of, as the years have gone by. That was me as a young man. As the years have gone by, I think the world has turned into what the more ideal approach,
Right. I agree.
which is speak a little bit about this.
Yeah, what I felt, I was seeing people who had graduated from all the different music schools not able to make a living because they only did classical. And there were the guys that they honestly did only classical, and on their outside of their school, they didn't sit at home and work on rock tunes and learn to use a pick and all that kind of stuff at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just in bad shape, very unhappy, and always having to go get jobs. And nothing wrong with insurance. Mike Carini, you're a great guy. You're a great guitarist. But here's the
Yeah,
thing: it's like if you want to actually just be in
a guitar
music
player, a
and
guitar
teach and
teacher.
play and such, you should be able to do that. And I didn't feel that the school setup was allowing people to make a living, and I thought that was immoral. And that's why I started
I
doing
agree,
trying to do
and
the
I will
jazz
emphasize
and,
immoral.
yeah, jazz and classical was one of the stepping stones towards that.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, to maybe ask York College to be doing like a outright rock program wouldn't have flown, but if you do the jazz, that was seen more as serious study, and
Yeah,
it helps, I think, classical
oh, it
people.
absolutely helps.
It's so crazy. They should be doing. I mean, some of
Both.
the arpeggio studies are just wonderful. Not talking right hand here. There's
Mm-hmm.
so much, and it shows up in all the music. It's silly not to have those students learn
Mm-hmm.
those things, and
Yeah.
and to know chord voicings and all this other things that go along with it.
What are you talking about? Classical?
Yeah, I'm talking with the jazz
Oh,
chord voicing
jazz. Okay.
that
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Well, it's not only that. It's like here the thing of it is jazz, and I don't teach many people jazz, though it creeps into a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
My thing is more that jazz teaches us how to adapt.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I love jazz, but I don't want to, I'm not, my job is not to train people to do what I love.
Right. Yeah.
My job is
There you go.
to train people to be like, no, my overall goal is to teach them how to adapt to any musical situation.
There you go.
If they're that inclined, they
Yes.
may just want to learn how to play Green Day,
Oh yeah.
and that's fine too because that's their
Oh,
journey.
yes.
So but what the jazz does is it teaches you adaptation if it's taught right.
Hmm.
Because there's some people that teach jazz as if it's a static or
Yeah.
a art form that is the door is shut on it.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
like classical guitar was,
Yes.
and I don't think that's shut either, but they treat it like it was.
Right. It was.
Yeah,
Very good.
there was a former student of mine named Dan Bergman who I am ridiculously proud of
Nice. That's
because
good.
he did what he did was he learned the classical guitar. He studied with Marcia
Mm.
at Millersville. He learned the classical guitar, and then at some point he veered off and like, how do I make this an improvisational thing too?
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Using classical guitar techniques. I'm not talking about jazz.
Right.
I'm talking about he studied classical music and he has a, and the three of us should meet sometime because
That'd be
he
fun.
reminds me of you.
That's funny.
And yeah, in other words, that he's a teacher now.
Oh, good.
So Dan Bergman, classical. How do we mix? How do we mix? There is a possibility within that. We always think that this is a dead instrument from the
Oh,
standpoint that there's a scientific way it needs to be approached, and everybody's going to be judged on a level of Christopher Parkening or not.
mhm.
And that is one route.
Oh yeah.
And certainly, if you want to be a concert music, are there?
Yes.
Certainly, there's people that want to be that way, but the other possibility is using that as a part of the influence, and then
Yes.
bringing in the other things in there.
Oh, for sure.
So, so improvisation has that changed you at all? Like
I
the
think
fact that
so.
you're jazz, the fact that you're rock. Do you ever try to mix?
Oh yeah. We've
mix
in performance situations and so on. Yeah, it just happens. Yeah, sometimes you're doing a little bit of both.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
a lot of both.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember, like my senior year in high school, the only time we got a chance to perform, which just is one of the things that there's not enough chances to perform when I was a kid.
Right. Oh boy, yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, so this is what we want to do as educators. We want to make those things anyway.
Oh yeah.
So my big thing was at the end of the year talent show.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Okay, and I think you remember my junior year, it was Bruins Bane.
Oh yes.
Okay,
I
I
remember.
practiced that thing for like
Oh yeah.
6 months,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't even know what it sounds like anymore.
Me either, but I remember it. That's funny when you brought that up. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was practicing Bruins Bane, Bruins Bane, Bruins Bane, and then I went,
What a rush. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and all the Rush fans who say that Rod hates Russ, he's a hater. No, no. So anyway, practiced it for 6 months, and I was okay. I get on stage my junior year, and I messed it up, and
Oh,
nobody knew. I did
oh,
because
oh
I've
yeah.
been practicing for 6 months.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people complimented me on it, and it was like, no, no,
Jeez.
and that's not the kind of feeling I want to get when I perform.
No. Yeah.
That's okay. So the following year, what I did was I wrote my own piece.
Ah, there you go.
And in between my junior and my senior year, I discovered Ralph Towner.
Oh yeah, there you are. Yep.
Okay.
Good.
So I was this improvisational thing, this improvisational thing, this improvisational thing. It doesn't have to be exact, but
Yes.
okay.
Cool.
And then it came out really slick. So the combining, I was using all classical technique,
Yes, you were. Cool.
but I was using a jazz player's mindset before I knew it was a jazz player's mindset.
There you go,
So
dude.
that's another way of doing things
Oh yeah, it is.
that we okay. I'm giving this to the world now. Now our little secret is out there.
That's so great. Yeah.
So Anderson's additional measures.
Oh yes.
Tell,
Okay.
tell us about that.
Let me tell you how it came about. Kind of like in a sense, a mentor who I've never met, Seth Godin. If you're familiar with him at all, he's done TED Talks and written a lot of different books. One of his first books, I think, was The Purple Cow, and all these different kinds of things. Of some of it's about thinking about things in different ways. And so, as I would read all of his materials and listen to his podcasts and other things like that, I thought there was a value because he quite often talks about how to create a brand. A brand isn't a logo, a slick package or whatever like that. It's the content and the respectability and the niche market that you're actually meeting the need of. And you
Mm-hmm.
don't need to go outside of that. You just got to do that right.
Yeah,
And if you do that right, they will come to you. And that's
yeah.
kind of a thing. And it all actually did prove true. So I started Anderson's additional measures in that I was going to do things and add to them beyond what I had done in my past, not necessarily be better than somebody else, but to make myself better and how else might I do things better. So
Yes.
some simple things like even having a newsletter incorporated. I had something sitting here. Oh, here we go. I started doing like a newsletter where I had things like guitar and art, which I was influenced by the
Mm-hmm.
art and times of guitar by Frederick Grunfeld. So I would have pieces of art on the front of my newsletter, have a background about the artist, and sometimes the story of the art was greater than the story about the guitar. It would be
Hmm.
quite neat, some of the different things that would come up. And then within those pages, I could I'd also would have like a person of note, someone maybe a lute player, then have some things about all the different lute tunings in the different time
Hmm.
periods and that type of thing. Let them see a lute, give them a link to go listen to to
Hmm.
that type of music, or maybe introduce something that we're maybe not seen before. Like this is the French guitar arch guitar that actually existed and was popular. And
Yeah.
then what was really interesting to me, I always learned things doing this stuff. I come across, here's a painting of Beethoven playing that very same French arch guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
So I didn't know he was a guitar player.
So very weird. So a lyre guitar, I should call it. Yeah, French
Hmm.
lyre guitar. So yeah, very strange.
I knew Paganini was a guitar player, but I didn't know
Right, me
Beethoven
too.
was.
Yes. So they don't show him playing it, and there was no mention of him playing. This is
Yeah.
interesting. It sounds as if it was so popular at the time that he had himself painted
Oh,
with
gotcha.
holding one.
All
So he's a
right.
poser.
Yeah.
That's
Well, he
terrible
knows
to
what's cool.
say.
He knows what
Yeah,
the ladies like.
there you go. Yeah. So that's one aspect of Anderson's additional measures. And I've had people. I had a guy come to me once, want to do ukulele, and he wanted to do chord melody style jazz pieces. And the very first thing he asked for when I first met him was, "I'd really like to play Misty." And but he goes, "I'd like to have it in standard notation,
Good Lord.
and I wrote it in standard notation. I did tab though because some of the positionings, if he was reading, he might get a little confused. It might take a lot of time, and I diagrammed all the chords in their sequence. So there's some Anderson's additional measures there. I forced myself. It was 8 hours work. I forced myself to the end and handed it to him, and he was upset that I had done that.
Why?
But because he thought, oh my gosh, this was too much work. But at the same time,
He was upset. What do
yeah,
you mean by that?
because I had gone to so much effort for him to play that
Oh, gotcha.
and such. But I've had, you've done the same. Like I've had rock tunes that are like 15 pages long and tab and stair notation, and I'll go through and I'll mark attack groups and down and up picking
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff. That's part of my additional measures that
Uh-huh.
I really don't understand why some publishers, I know they might not like to do fingerings because sometimes that's super personal,
Yeah.
but so much of it is straight ahead, just logical that you're not going to stray too far from where they've positioned it on the
Uh-huh.
fretboard and that type of thing. I think it'd be great if they had the picking directions and sequence of the diagrams of the chords sometimes to show
Hmm.
guide and fingers, pivot fingers and things, because half the time that's what breaks the bank. The person's going through is like, oh man, they're having trouble here, here, and here. If there was just a little bit of extra notation and time taken in publishing process,
Yeah.
I also feel more people would stick with their instrument. They would buy more music. They'd have more success. And what's
Hmm.
going to make them do more than if they have success? Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the ticket. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I think a lot of the printed companies, I don't know whether there's a way to fix this. They can't transcribe the intent.
Right.
They can't transcribe what is going on in the person's mind. So
Hmm.
when uh
Oh yeah.
I called that the spider lick.
Yes.
All right. So I hear it. I first defined it as the spider lick. It was a Kirk Hammett in Am I not Am I Evil? Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah. I know what you
Seek and
mean.
destroy.
Yes. Seek and destroy. That's it.
Seek and
Yep.
destroy. Okay,
Yes.
so he does a spider lick there.
Right.
It is not essential that you get this when Kirk
Oh, every
did,
note.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. An
And
occasional
people are like
beats.
that, but that's
Beats.
not what he plays.
Yeah. Fifths of a beat. No, the sevenths of a beat.
You know what I mean? It's like it was completely chance.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
it's like we have the thing I don't like about written notation is it doesn't, and I don't know if there's a way around this, it doesn't notate intent.
Yeah.
In other words, Kirk Hammett wasn't thinking I got to play all these notes like that.
Right.
Kirk Hammett was thinking, and he didn't call it the spider lick, but I'm gonna play the spider lick here, then
Oh
I'm gonna go
yeah.
to the seventh fret and do
Yeah.
some blues
He
licks.
learned it on the web. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
So and that's over and over and over again. Like
Hmm.
especially when you study people who improvise.
Oh yeah.
Um, what is the intent? Does it? How much of that has to be exactly? In other words, Stairway to Heaven solo.
Oh yeah.
There's a very melodic component of that, but then there's stuff that is like almost like Jimmy Page messing up
Yeah.
and flopping his fingers around and
Free. Yeah.
and do we have to and then people can be so literal with those transcriptions that they don't know what's going on.
Right.
So every time I'm teaching note for notice, how do we repurpose it?
Right.
And it's like how do you repurpose some of the classical stuff?
Oh yes. Yeah.
How would you do that?
You can create new rhythm guitar backgrounds. You can do you can
Okay.
create new solos.
Yes.
Yeah, all kinds of yeah.
Yeah. So
Same
the
thing.
idea of repurposing.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that if you're just treating it like an isolated piece or an isolated musical event, then that's one of 30 songs you learn in your lifetime.
Right. That's how it goes. Because yeah.
But this goes back to the jazz thing.
Mm-hmm.
We learn the improvisation. We learn what's going on in their head, and if you learn it not as that, then
Right.
it helps you with every song ever.
True. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
To the
So
creativity.
so much of that is like, as I said, that can be done with every style of music. Classical, you're I'm thinking with the classical stuff, and you repurpose. Well, how do we? That's a new rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
Because I think a lot of those, and some people are completely okay with just studying the repertoire, and that's good. That's their journey.
Oh yeah.
Find your journey.
Oh yeah.
But there's other side journeys that are possible. I guess my point.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So who are the blues guitar players that I remember you used to be into, like acoustic blues?
Oh yeah.
Who are they? This wasn't that long ago.
Oh man, yeah.
I say that long ago. I'm an old man, so it could have been 20 years.
Yeah, I've got. Yeah, I'm looking down here. What's some of the? It's terrible. Yeah, I've guys like well, mostly what's interesting with me, it's just all the old Piedmont blues guys and stuff like that, and so it's just all the classic guys and just the tunes themselves. I have several students that's all they live for.
All right.
Which was pretty cool. Yeah. Exactly.
So you say Piedmont blues. Is there an element of that as like Travis picking?
Yes, like Lance Miscom and some of these guys, and yeah. So
because I heard somebody talking about the Piedmont style.
Yeah, a lot of it is just, again, they all seem to have the alternating thumb and accent of two,
which is Travis picking.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's basically that with
That's what is that what Merle Travis was doing, Piedmont style?
It kind of was, yeah.
Or that was because he's probably not the innovator.
No, I didn't seem to be, because like again that stuff was already happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I don't think he ever said he was the innovator. So
no.
But he
he got known for it, yeah, with his tunes, and
we call it Travis picking.
Yeah.
Because Piedmont the Piedmont style.
Yeah, exactly. And let's see, I'm going to hit you back up with some of the Anderson's additional measure stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This has to do with performance, and I used to be terrified of having to do like a piano recital or a guitar recital. I used to think, I don't want to do this. I would find a cancer walk to do that day. For real.
Yeah.
I would heart.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a performance that's got to be right.
Yeah.
Performing is fun.
That's right. So what
and if it's not fun, you're approaching it wrong.
Yeah, I took the fear of that, and this whole thing of thinking in a different way, I decided to do play-alongs, not concerts with my students at first. And I have all ages. Like I might be able to get this picture on here somehow if I can find the camera.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question.
Here we go. So here's a play along. That was a bluegrass play along. You can see my chickens in the barn I built.
Hmm.
The fox is in the
See, this is
hen
next level, people.
house.
No, I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
That
building
was
home.
going to be my next question because if that's not the only one you did, you
No,
did
I
like a
did not.
Valentine's Day one too, I
Yeah.
think.
So here's the situation. I got people from age 5 through age 72 playing in the same room, playing the same tune at the same time. Nobody has to feel exposed. Nobody has to be nervous. And you do that a bunch of times, and then pretty soon you're comfortable being with other people that you don't know, making music, and all of a sudden you can get up and you're nervous, but you can do it and you can play. So it's been a stepping stone. And then, like an example, then too, I had these students. I had like little showcases. Here's
Hmm.
a girl doing ukulele, a banjo student of mine, and then a guitarist who does jazz and classical. I featured them in a concert at the public library. And then I also have had ensembles. This happened to be a Christmas thing, but again, all
Yep.
ages doing that. And I might find.
Oh, you got to show us your your Zoom emoticon thingies.
Oh, I will. Yeah. Well, I had like, whoops, I lost it. I am so sorry to have you wait on me here with this stuff.
Whatever, man.
I'll find it. It's right here. Good gosh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So things like the 1960s play along,
Hmm.
yeah, that kind of thing, and so on. But, and then, yeah, 1920s music, Art
But
Nouveau,
Art Deco.
Art Deco, yeah, building and such. So, anyhow, another thing that I was able to do with that helped people then be able to do um, different solo concert situations outside of my goings at stores and schools. They would do things at their church or other places like that they want to perform and come back and tell me how great it was and how it went. So that was really a great stepping stone and a good idea. And then to make it special, that again, the whole idea of Seth Godin got me thinking. It's like, well, we could all sit there and play, but what if the room's decorated? So they walk in, it's like, whoa, they're not
Yeah, yeah.
expecting. They don't expect that, and so it's kind of fun. The parents
What
don't
what part
expect
of
it.
your business was that?
Oh, that was at the private music store where I was teaching Brinley's music.
Okay.
I still teach for them now online and so
Okay.
on. So they had a room where we were able to do that. And
Okay.
in that same room, then another thing, Anderson's additional measures, I want to start a quarterphone club where we looked at different instruments, most of them kind of unusual to us, and got to hear experts play and discuss the instrument and the culture and all that type of repertoire and such. So I did that, and I had like my first one was Christopher Ryan doing sitar,
Hmm.
and I had Jorge Polanco, who's a famous Venezuelan cuatro player. So we have the four-string instrument
All
and
right.
two other people with him.
Now,
And
do
then
you have some sort of background in any of that?
no, but what I did, I researched diligently for 2 months each one of these instruments, and I put together materials, photocopy them, and hand them out when people come in. I have a whole thing of parts of the instrument, history of the instrument, players of the instrument, links to hear people you can hear, and I
Hmm.
hand those out at the door when they come to hear these people. Then they do they talk. I let them decide if they want me to interview them or if they just want to do their own presentation and that type of thing.
Hmm.
And that's been working really well. And Lima Gates did the Chinese pipa. Whoops, she just faded there on us. So that
Hmm.
was like really pretty amazing, incredible. And again, like I kind of did a stage design for her, and
Oh, Lotus.
yeah,
Is that it?
and I had done same like the sitar player and such.
Yeah, yeah.
And let's see, I also had, if I can find them, oops, here they are. There's a band, the New Chums, and I hired them to come and play and talk about how they function with one another within their band when they create their tunes and
Uh-huh.
so on. So I thought that would be a great learning experience. And then I also did. Uh, Jack Harriman was the founder of the Chandler Symphony Orchestra and the main conductor and so on. I interviewed him and had him talk about conducting,
Uh-huh.
and I've also did Renaissance lecture concerts with my classical guitar trio, the Arizona Guitar Trio,
Uh-huh.
and I also did jazz ballads lecture concert with Scott Dooley, he's a member of the duo, the Scots, where
Yeah.
we do jazz and
Oh, yeah,
perform
yeah, yeah.
places
The
in
one,
South.
the one that I saw that picture of that
Oh
you're
yes,
performing for a horse.
yes, exactly. That's a really cool gallery, though. I love that place.
Yeah,
It's like really, really great. But so there's all that kind of stuff. I might be making us run long, but that's kind of
that's all wonderful stuff. That's what I'm saying.
there's
That's next level,
a lot
Scott.
of stuff that you can do.
That is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping like teachers are inspired by what you do. It's like
Oh, that's great.
they
Thank you. Oh
put
yeah.
puts their thinking, this is what's possible.
All right. Here you
There you
are.
go. That is a.
You made me remember, yeah, my 3D. Because I thought the
You
little
made
thing.
that yourself?
Yes, the little thing that Zoom does is so tiny. It's up there. I miss seeing it. Sometimes students give them to me, and I don't see it. It's like, I feel
See,
terrible.
I would pay for that.
Oh, that's cool. I can't sell such a thing because I think they're copyright. I think I saw a woman who designed most of these, with the clapping hands and the raised hand and the heart. I'm still
Okay,
working.
I will. You just make
Working
me
on
some. I won't pay you for them.
Oh, okay. There you go. That would work. So there's all that. Ah, boy, I had some stuff ready to talk about motives and
We got a part two.
I was going to talk about we're going to have to like
Yeah.
harmonic recipe and how that is what creates tone.
Yeah.
I was all set for you, and then
All right. Well, we got a part two.
I had these
Music lesson. Yes.
I had these books I thought people might have an interest
Improvising jazz.
in. Oh yeah, and you got Victor Wooten in there, which I know you love him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I have like 3 of those books. One of them was signed.
And issues about slurs and then here's inappropriate hand position for slurs.
That is yours.
Yes.
Okay, you need to you need to come up with a book that's just like that. Yeah.
All the things, yeah.
Yeah. Book that has humor in with
Yeah.
it, because we're not going to get deep into humor because it's not ready for prime time.
Right.
But
I have a
that is
great
part of the gig.
I have a great Betty Davis where she has a hatchet in her hands, and I put I warned you about your thumb because I have some of these guys that are just
Yeah. Lude Lou. I remember Lude Lou.
Oh yes, she'll cut off the thumb. There you go.
Anyway.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, we'll do it again because we got more stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Yeah. This is wonderful, and it's like York, Pennsylvania to Tempe, Arizona.
Oh yes.
Guitar Nerds. This is Scott Anderson. I'm Rod Gels.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, I hope you got a lot out of this. And as I said, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do this again. Talk about other stuff. We can come up with themed discussions too.
Yes, that sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Alrighty.
it. Thanks.
Until next time.
Yeah, till next
See
time.
y'all.
Thanks again. Bye bye.